I think that every path I've chosen in life has directed me the right way. And I tried so much shit when I was younger. Like I tried to do crypto and I remember invested Bitcoin when it was like $4,000 and then it never went back up. And it turns out, I don't know if you guys heard that story, but it was, the site was called Quadriga CX.
Wow.
Yeah. It's like, well, what the fuck am I gonna do with my money?
If you look at everyone who's actually won a significant show, they all had a good coach.
The Rock's coach is the same coach that coached Phil Heath. So why is The Rock fucking massive and at his age especially?
Is he still saying he's natural? It's a phenomenon.
It's impossible.
Yeah,
it's impossible.
Yeah. Welcome back to Success After Dark. Thank you to my co-host for the day and sponsor of the show, and our special guest. I'm sure you can see him on the camera.
Yeah.
Mr. Jamal. How you doing, my friend?
Good to meet you guys. Well, we go way back.
It's a small world, man. Yeah.
Let's talk about how I know him.
Yeah.
I know him when I used to work in Good Life.
Yeah.
And I saw him with a couple other guys.
Yeah.
And then I read his Instagram like recently, and I'm like, fuck, I remember this guy.
Yeah. It's a big change, eh?
Oh yeah. This is like at least 7 years ago.
So you guys watch each other glow up from the Good Life days, huh?
That's true.
Yeah, I took a browse to his Instagram page and I was
Yeah.
like, damn, this guy's doing good.
Yeah. Did you expect that or no?
Not really.
I was the best guy.
Yeah.
Like imagine I'm like the guy that takes your key to.
Yeah, you're not betting on that guy.
Yeah, no, I was
Hard to
like,
go.
it's hard. And then
And I didn't even know he was there, but up until I jumped on his Instagram.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when I messaged you, I saw outstanding.
Yeah, because I do remember him, and you know what? I have you on Facebook, so I kind of knew he was doing some shit because like
okay.
you post on your stories.
Yeah.
And I was like, this guy's like a motivational speaker and shit, all crypto stuff. And I was like, damn, man. And then I saw the Instagram DM. And I was like, what's this guy want from me? I'm like, and I remembered him, and then obviously you mentioned this, and I was like, yeah, okay, I'm down.
I love it, yeah. We got lots to talk about today.
For sure.
Lots to talk about.
For sure.
So, you've been in the fitness journey how long?
I'd say since I was like maybe 19, so 9 years now. Yeah.
8, 9 years.
So you're only 28?
Yeah, 29 this year. 29 in May.
Yeah, you're 1995.
Yes,
You're
95. Yeah, May 95.
Bro, this motherfucker looks huge.
Yeah. What do people usually guess? 35?
Yeah, 30.
Yeah, in the 30s. 30s for sure. Yeah.
13 kids, 14.
Yeah, that's...
Because your back has to be at least 40, then you're like...
Yeah. They don't... You know what?
Joints are 42.
My joints are like 50 at least. At least.
And then... and then you after Good Life, we talked about the story about what's the Lifetime?
Yeah. So I transitioned from the Good Life to Lifetime when they opened up. Just because as I was saying to you guys, like they gave me a tour of the gym and I saw that outdoor pool and like at the time I didn't really have a lot of money going on, so I was like, I have to be here. Mm-hmm. I looked at the gym. I was like, I mean, you can work out in any gym. Let's be real. During COVID, we all worked out like dumps and shit, right? But I saw that gym and I was like, I gotta be out there training every day. I gotta try and make this work. Yeah. So I canceled my gym membership at Good Life and I went there and I just.
And then another thing we talked about is the environment, man.
Yeah.
The environment of like how it looks. Yeah. And the people around you, it's a big difference from people like going to Good Life.
Do you think you'd be where you are today if you didn't switch to?
Absolutely not, man. I think that every path I've chosen in life has directed me the right way, because even I told you guys I grew up in Jane and Finch. So my high school was Westview. I don't know if you guys are like local, you know, Westview is like the shittiest high school you can go to. But I played soccer when I was younger. So I had, my grades were just good enough for me to get into like Northview Heights, which was like Finch and Bathurst.
Yeah.
So I got into there for like sports. So they took me there, and I believe if I didn't go to that school, I would have been a completely different person. Wow. So just as that directed me in one direction, which also put me into fitness. So in that school, I shifted away from soccer and I went more into like obviously fitness and bodybuilding. And then from there I went, Good Life was my first gym. It's most people's first gym. So it was Extreme Fitness at the time when I was there. And then I met people there and it guided me. And
you had a whole crew up in
Yeah, I was running. That was my coach and mentor you
Yeah.
used to see me with, and I learned so much from him. Which again, it's guiding me, right? So I had to be there to meet those people, and then that guided me to lifetime, and then that gym created who I was basically. And it's crazy to think that that can do that to somebody, but that just goes to show your environment and who you surround yourself with, right?
Yeah.
Because everyone there had money, and I was like this, must have been like 21 years old.
Yeah.
I didn't have much money. I was driving like a Hyundai Veloster. Like I thought I was a shit with that thing, $10,000 car. Going to that gym and just.
But you're parking beside the Lamborghinis, and you're like, okay, I'm in the right spot.
Everybody has a fucking G-Wagon,
Yeah,
and but I didn't look at it. I wasn't envious of it. I was like,
Inspired by it.
yeah, I was inspired by it, right? Yeah. So I, I made connections. I networked, and people liked me because I felt like I didn't fit in. But I kind of did because I forced myself to. I had to grow up. I had to grow up so fast because I was dealing with guys in their 40s and 50s, guys that were builders, building homes and condos, and I was just this kid
So how did you get? So right now you coach. You do individual coaching for.
Yeah. So what basically I competed. My mentor and coach took me through a couple shows. I learned so much about. Just competing and like we were mentioning, everything that goes along with competing, the diet, nutrition, obviously supplementation and stuff like that. So I learned all those things from him, who learned that from Paul Dillette, who was like the biggest bodybuilder. If you Google what Paul Dillette looks like, he's a monster.
Wow.
So all the information was passed on from bodybuilder to bodybuilder. So my information comes from almost Arnold Schwarzenegger era, where all those guys were massive, but they also looked really aesthetic and they looked good. Mm-hmm. So that information was passed on, shit that you can't read on the internet. Mm-hmm. That's why people come to me now, because it's information that they can't find anywhere, and they're wondering where does this knowledge come from, because they weren't putting shit on the internet back in the day. They were just saying it to people. They were coaching each other, and they were giving them what they needed face to face. There was no internet to say, okay, let's write this down and pass it on and sell it to people. It wasn't how it was.
And even now, it's way more valuable to get information from someone face to face than the Reddit stream. Some guy, Doritos 202 trying to tell you what cycle to do. And
and that's the thing, is we don't know the advice we get on the internet now isn't. You don't even know who's saying it on the back end, and what is what's their end goal, and what do they benefit from giving you this information, right? So we have to think about that, because if I can't see what you look like, why are you giving me this information for free, right? And also what works for him may not work for you. We all have different body types. We all react differently to certain things. So if someone's saying you should probably take this and eat this, it may work for them, and it may not work for me, it may not work for you. Mm-hmm. So that's why you get a coach, because a coach is able to look at you and say, okay, you need to do this versus that, right? But that's why you get what you pay for when it comes to this industry.
For
right?
sure.
There are guys that cut corners and think they can do it themselves and go on Google and stuff. But the information I know is information that was passed on from that era of bodybuilding, right? So now we are, in 2024, where this information is only available from the people that learned it. Right. So.
Rakan and I we're in the mentorship space too. We always talk about how coaches are their success hacks. You get the right one. Sure. Because a coach can take you from where you want to be at 22 to where you need to be at 23, and then if you're trying to do it by yourself on Google, Reddit, YouTube, it might take you 10 years to get to there.
Absolutely.
And you just lost 9 years behind the guy that paid the coach to save 9 years of his life and get there faster. And then they're saying, oh, the $1,000, $5,000 is too much. But okay, you just spent 9 years trying to get to where it was.
Well,
so it's hard to value the time on that. Right?
Well, that's why, and and it's with everything, right? It's not just with fitness. It's if I wanted to learn, and I tried so much shit when I was younger. I tried to do crypto, and I remember invested in Bitcoin when it was $4,000, and I bought I used all my money and bought 3 Bitcoins at $4,000, and then it shot up, thankfully, to 20.
Was that Lambo or no?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't even what I bought. Unfortunately, this story takes a bad turn. This isn't a success story. This is a bad story. This doesn't end well. So it went up to 25,000, and then I got greedy, and I was like, man, this is gonna keep fucking climbing, man.
2017.
So I bought at 4. I now have $100,000 in profit. Well, not in profit, but in total. But idiot me, I was like, nah, man, I'm gonna keep going. And then it started to drop from there, and I was like, it's gonna go back up, it's gonna go back up, it's gonna go back up. And then it never went back up. It went lower than what I had bought it at. So at this point, I'm like, well, fuck it, I'm taking this money out now, because, you know. And it also, I was put in a time where I kind of needed that money, right? So now I was like $8,000 there, which was like 16. So I'm like, I may as well take this because I need it for something.
Yeah.
And then it turns out, I don't know if you guys heard that story, but the site was called Quadriga CX.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
But that was a big story in Canada.
Yeah, it was
big story in Canada.
Ponzi or somewhere?
No, it was like an exchange that he faked his own death story. To run away from money. There's a documentary.
So
about
there's a documentary about it. So he went to India and apparently got crossed.
Yes, his wife said that he's dead or something.
He's dead,
Yeah.
So
that's a story.
So I try and take out my $8,000, right? And usually the withdrawals are within like a day or two. But now it's like a week and I haven't got my fucking money. So I go on the website and the website's down. There's a big white page and it says something about like they're just having problems or whatever. So I'm just patiently waiting. I need this money. Now I need this money. I genuinely need it. And so
you guys can take 100K. Just give me back 8,000.
Long story short, I'm on Reddit and whatever, and then the information comes out, and apparently the guy died in India. He was in a trip to India, and he died, and he was the only one that had these codes to open the fucking wallets to get the money.
Yeah, even his wife didn't have them.
His wife didn't have them, and he got Crohn's. He died from like a stomach ache or some shit like that. Like I don't even know what happened. The body was like cremated in India, and like it just none of it made any sense. And I'm just like, well, what the fuck am I gonna do with my money now? So they're like, oh, you gotta file this claim and say how much money you had in your account, and we'll get you in like 5 to 10 years. Like we'll figure it out when we figure it out. Long story short, I got a check in the mail like 6 months ago for $500.
Are you serious?
From Quadriga?
Yeah, from Quadriga.
Wow.
They sent me a check. Yeah, because they got a lawyer involved, and basically they only had enough money to cover like 15 cents on the dollar. So that's all they were able to recover. So everyone who had their money there got 15 cents on the dollar. So I came out with like $560 from the $8,000 that I needed in 2017.
But last night I filed the FTX claim. So FTX is a big exchange also. Their founders in jail now in New York. I filed a claim on it, but hearing that, I'm not too excited for it. I might as well just.
Yeah, they.
I'm not waiting.
You know what, man? It's a big scam. It was my mistake because I should have never left it in an exchange. I mean, anybody knows that. But you know, I was like trading, so I was like, you know, I was trying to buy and sell. So I tried to keep it in the exchange because it was quicker, right? Yeah. And it bit me in the ass, man. And like, so that was it was a horror story, not a success story, but yeah, that did nothing for me. I lost money doing that, and it was hell, man. So yeah, that was that. But I don't know where I went with that story.
I think you were saying, well, people have mentors in different spaces.
Right. Okay. Yes.
We learn in the crypto space because even we were in the crypto space in the last bull market.
Yeah.
And even us, we made some money there, but we could have made more if we had known how the cycles worked. If we had coaches in our ear that were telling us, hey.
Well, exactly. So yeah, that's
this
the point.
happens every 4 years.
That's the point, is that you need a mentor and a coach basically for everything, because that could have been avoided if someone just told me don't leave your money in a fucking exchange, right? Sure. That would have changed my life. But again, I guess that was for a reason. I don't think God wanted me to have $100,000 at that age in my life, because I probably would have just bought a fucking sports car and I don't know, did something stupid with it. You know what I mean? I'm a different person now. So I mean, like now I have that kind of money, and you know, I'm not stupid.
You're early 20s, like 20, 21?
I was like, it was 2017. Yeah, so about that age. Yeah. I'd say 21, 22 when that happened. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I just take it. I take it like I wasn't supposed to have that money at that time, because why else would this happen at the exact time that I was trying to pull this fucking money out? And then now look at fucking Bitcoin, man. I every night I think about that, and I'm like, oh man, if I just did something different with that, man. It's that I saw it at like 60K at one point. Like, holy fuck, man, I could have been like a
68,600.
Yeah, I could have been. If I had 4 Bitcoins now, I would be I'm at like 200 plus.
Probably wouldn't be here.
I definitely wouldn't. I'm just kidding. No, but I'd have a better story to tell at least, than a horror story. But yeah, that's the point. Is realistically the the point of it is you need a mentor for that, because as you said, you can get to where you're at on your own in 8-9 years, or you can kind of skip the steps where you make those mistakes, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't think people realize how much that's worth and the value of missing those mistakes, because my coach will tell me all the time, don't do that because I did that when I was in my 20s and it fucked me up. My coach used to tell me like, yo, you look good now, but as you get bigger and bigger, you're going to get less attention from women and more attention from men. Yeah. Not in a sexual way, but like in a like dude, you look jacked kind of thing. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, right. I'm like, chicks are gonna love this.
He is so right.
And then what happened was exactly what he fucking said.
So right.
Yeah, now it's like it's dudes come up to me in the gym, like, dude, you're jacked. What are you taking? Yeah. They're looking for advice. Just my girl. My girl's the only one that likes this.
At what point of your physique do you think, okay, you're no longer impressing the women, now you're impressing the men?
I think, man, once you get to that like really dense, full look, because there's the beach body look. You got you got a nice chest, some abs, decent arms. That's like.
You think that's the ideal for women?
Yeah, that's ideal. I think for women, because unless you're particular, like my girl likes my physique. If I tell her I'm trying to bulk and get bigger this winter, she's like, all right.
Starts cooking.
Yeah, she's like,
in the oven.
Yeah, she's like, all right, do whatever, take whatever you need to take. She's like, put on 10 pounds of mass. Let's go, right? But like. Most women are not like that, right? And I mean, maybe it's like it's impressive to look at, but I don't think the aesthetic. I think the aesthetic look is more attractive, right? And I think it's just, but I mean, you can take it on either side, like being bigger and being like a type of a bodybuilder shows discipline and so it depends on the woman really, but I mean, but like that was it, right? So I learned a lot of things from a coach, right? Is that you just it helps you skip the parts.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at everyone who's actually won a significant show, they all had a good coach.
Of course.
Oh man.
Not even just a coach, just like a good coach.
A good coach.
They're not doing it by themselves. They're not watching YouTube and going compete.
Oh no, man, no. You can tell the ones that are watching YouTube. You can tell which ones did that. You can tell the ones. But like you look at someone like The Rock. Like The Rock's coach is the same coach that coached Phil Heath. Wow. So why is it that?
Of course, gonna get the same.
Why? Right. So why is The Rock fucking massive at his age, especially? Because he went and got the same coach.
He's older, no?
Yeah, he must be. Dwayne Johnson is
50 plus.
In his 50s, and he's still fucking massive, and he looks.
Is he still saying he's natural too?
I mean, he's a celebrity, bro. Yeah. Like celebrities are gonna say that all the time, right? Like
but
I feel
99%.
But you know, realistically, to look like that natural is it's a phenomenon.
It's impossible. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. No. I mean, to the untrained eye, maybe like I've heard people. I've had conversations with people, and they'd be like, The Rock doesn't take steroids. And I'll be like, what the fuck do you know?
I saw he did MTV Cribs. They looked at his fridge.
Yeah, he didn't have GH in his fridge. Yeah, he didn't have GH in his fridge.
Look, man. I worked in a Good Life. I've seen a lot.
Yeah, That Good Life especially.
That especially because that was a Gold's Gym. Yeah. And then Good Life bought it out.
Yeah.
So all the because Good Life was always like these other like lifting machines, but that location we had it was like Gold's Gym.
Yeah, they had really great equipment. They had great equipment there.
So, but man, number one, why would people lie about it?
The people that lie about it's
like I see a big guy that's like 4,000 pounds.
Yeah.
And bro,
like a Michael Hearn, for example.
Yeah, he can lift me with.
Michael Hearn lies about it because the industry he's in, it's not necessarily acceptable. So that's why we have to look at like the reason why people will tell you the truth and the people why they won't. So someone like Michael Hearn is not going to admit to steroid use because he's sponsored by supplement companies that are trying to sell you protein powder and creatine.
They feel like that would be like the the right.
That's
like this is what got him to.
This is what got him to look like that.
Yes.
Look at Phil when Phil Heath was the Mr. Olympia. He was sponsored by, I think it was Muscle Tech.
Yeah.
And they had his fucking photos on everything, Cell Tech, take the Cell Tech. If you guys remember that, it's stupid fucking, But why are they doing that? Because if everybody knew that he was taking steroids, they'd be like, well, why am I going to spend $60 on that? I'll buy a vial of test for $60. Why would I do that?
Yeah.
Right? So I understand completely why. Because, if you're...
For Mr. Olympia's, like, you gotta be an idiot.
It's a joke, but people think that. I remember watching it with my mom, and I'd be like, yo, all those guys are on juice. And my mom would be like, nah, come on. And I'm like, what do you fucking know? You know what I mean? Like, I have to say that a lot nowadays. It's like, what do you know about any of that, right? But like, the fact that someone can think that, if someone thinks that that's obtainable naturally, a Mr. Olympia physique,
wild.
Yeah, it's wild to think that, but people do. So imagine you look at like The Rock, who's obviously not as in condition, or someone like me, they'd be like, all right, maybe, I guess, right? But the only people that are, so that's why people lie about it. But the reason why people tell the truth about it is because they can also monetize off of it. So you see,
you sell it, do you mean? They can sell it?
I don't know about selling it, but giving advice, like Rich Piana, right?
You become a more well-rounded coach if you're actually honest about it.
I think so.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't take a coach that, like, I can tell he's big, but he's not telling me he's on.
Yeah.
Just let me know what's up, bro.
Yeah, well, I think, like I said, the guys that are honest, like Rich Piana, for example, big, you guys know, everybody knows him. He passed away, but he did so many videos on the shit he used to take because he had his own supplement brand and he was selling his shit because it was good.
Yeah.
But he was telling people straight up, like, yo, this is what I'm taking a day. This is what it takes to look how I look. So he was honest and he was monetizing
he died
it.
from?
No, I think he had like some drug issues. He went into a coma. I think he had other drug related issues, and then obviously he died some other way. I think.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody has died directly from steroid use.
Yeah.
It's not. It's hard because it's not legal to like sell and shit. So to do testing.
Mexico, it is.
Mexico, yeah. I went to Mexico. I was like, I told my girl, I'm like, can we stop at the pharmacy on the way back to the airport and see what they got?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I walk in Mexico.
Yeah.
The first thing that I see, like.
They'll try and sell it to you too. If you got some muscle, they'll be like, Anavar? Oxandrolone? Yes.
You think it's good over there or no? That's fine.
I don't know. That's the thing.
Because
it's in a pharmacy, I feel like it's Mexico. And I don't know.
One of my guys was like, bro, they play a lot with it.
Yeah.
So.
And they're also, it's like, they want like $140 US.
And it's more expensive.
Yeah. This better.
It's probably half placebo.
Yeah.
So here, my question would be, now 1 to 10, how dangerous are we talking? Something like this, dangerous are we talking? And what's the time? Because like, okay, I'll give you an example. Somebody like me.
Yeah.
Right. I want to be able to build some muscles, go on like maybe like a 60-day, 90-day.
Yeah.
I guess cycle.
Uh-huh.
I guess I don't know. Like I've heard people take tests, take GH.
Yeah.
I know
Everything is safe in moderation.
Why are you acting like you don't know, bro?
What else?
Well, there's a common cycle for bulking is like a test DECA D-ball. A common cutting cycle is like some test Tren and Anavar, maybe some Mastrone. GH is something that's always good to use. But it's your goal, right?
Yeah.
So I mean,
what are you trying to solve for?
Yeah. So if you're trying to say like if we look at your current physique and you're shredded, but you're like, you know what, I'm shredded, but I'm only 170 pounds. I want to be 190 pounds, but I don't want to lose my shape. Then you take certain things for that. Now, if we're talking danger, I personally never have seen anybody have. First of all, no one's died from it, not directly. Like I said, if there's other issues, then
kidney failure
and stuff. But that's from abuse of like orals, and that could be anything. You can get kidney failure. You can have a Percocet addiction and be taking steroids, and then you're just gonna blame it on the steroids because you never told anybody you had a Percocet addiction. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's.
So if it's not dangerous, why is it legal in Canada?
It's illegal.
Because in the States, is it?
In the States, it's extremely illegal.
It's illegal.
Yeah, it's extremely illegal.
But I mean,
it's illegal to sell and even possess in the States. But in Canada, it's illegal to sell, but it's not illegal to possess, right? So the reason why it's illegal, because we all know that, man. Like, I don't want to get political, but Like our government doesn't, our healthcare doesn't want us to be healthy because naturally speaking, testosterone is just a natural male hormone.
Yeah.
So we all have testosterone in the body. Unfortunately, after the age of 25, it just starts to decline. It just keeps tanking until you get to the point where it's so low. Now you're going to the doctor for Cialis, you're going to the doctor for Viagra. But instead of the doctor telling you, yo, why don't we just
Get some TRT.
put some TRT in you? They're like, no. Take this Viagra. You might get a heart attack.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, because TRT is what's that?
Testosterone
replacement therapy.
Who does we talked about Joe Rogan taking something. What was he taking?
I think Joe Rogan's probably on TRT.
Oh, Joe Rogan's
Yeah.
on TRT. Easily.
TRT.
Yeah. Joe Rogan is an advocate
The
of
Rock's
stuff.
on TRT. Like all
Yeah.
these guys.
Yeah, there's somebody who's on
The Rock is on way more than that. But yeah, Joe Rogan is a big advocate of that
Yeah.
because it's a natural male hormone.
Yeah.
So all we're doing is we're putting a synthetic version in and making it slightly more.
So when would be like a good age for that? If you are working out.
For TRT?
Yeah.
I think a TRT, if you're just a general male,
Okay.
after the age of 35, if you have kids. But the only thing is when you're on replacement tests, your natural test shuts down, so you can't have a kid, right? The chances are very low because you won't produce live sperm. So it's dependent,
You have
right?
to go on cycles like on and off.
Well, yeah. So guys like bodybuilders, right? When The Rock just had a baby girl not too long ago. I highly doubt he came off because he kept all his size. So, but there are things you can take if you really wanted to have a kid while on cycle, right? Like HCG, it's like a pregnant woman's urine, and it's like fossilized and turned into a powder, and then you mix it and then you inject it in yourself, and that somehow raises your natural, brings back your test, your natural test levels, and can make you have.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. So at what point? I mean, there's so many questions that we can ask about.
Yeah, ask away.
I think it really comes to, you're right. I think it comes down like, what are you trying to solve?
Yeah, what are you trying to
People,
solve?
you probably get the question all the time. Should I take this? Some 18-year-old kid running
Yeah.
trying to shoot their own juice.
And-
And a 40-year-old should I do TRT?
Yeah.
Like, I think it comes down to, is it worth it for that person? Because, okay, for example, like, what's the ROI on taking steroids? For example, Sebum, big ROI. Sponsored, he's made a living off of it. He's Mr. Olympia, four-time
Canadian.
Yeah,
He's
so
Burlington.
Burlington. Wow. Okay.
So for him, it's paid off.
There's a Fuad guy.
Yeah, Fuad Abia. Yeah, he's
I saw him a long time ago. Like,
yeah, he's still. That's the show we're doing this year. My athletes
His
are
show?
doing the Fuad show in Mississauga.
He owns
this
the
year.
show?
Yeah, he has his own show.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's had a big name too in this industry. But yeah, you're right. It boils down to what are we doing it for?
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. Like you don't need a reason that justifies it for me or you. It's for yourself. Like I have clients that just want to look good. To each his own. You know what I mean? But to that level is how far are you willing to go for what you want to obtain?
Yeah.
Because we don't like I can tell you what I recommend.
Yeah.
Right? But realistically it's up to you whether you decide to take that advice or not.
Yeah.
Sorry, we'll just take a
Trying to move this closer, man. My back is killing me.
these chairs.
Oh, hold on. These are the worst chairs ever. Can someone push me in?
Yeah.
You push me in?
Brother, you got too much sense.
Oh, there we go. We're good. Oh.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
That was full.
Yeah. Speaking to the mic.
Check on.
Here? Yeah. Okay.
Okay. We were talking about show.
Yes. So Fuad has a show. That's what I'm doing. But yeah, no. Ultimately, your question, I guess, was the reason.
Yeah, the reason.
What is it worth it?
Yeah. So you have to think about that, right? Like now, obviously, for me, I got into the fitness industry early, and I competed naturally, and I got crushed by a bunch of guys taking juice. So, but I still wanted to compete. I feel like it was unfair, and I wanted to get back in there and do it right. So that's when I met my coach, and my coach guided me through and brought me to the conditioning I took what I needed to do. I ate what he asked me to do, and I did well. And then that inspired me to keep going. And then I did another show, and I just kept progressively getting better until I finally fucking won a show. And then I was like, holy shit, this costs a lot of money. And then I kind of just...
An average show, how much would it cost? Do you think?
Well, I'm taking in the cost of everything. So if we're doing... coaching, if you hire a coach, can be anywhere between $2,000 to $5,000, maybe even more. For like a full like bulking cut. So let's say like 12 weeks of bulking, 12 weeks. So 24 weeks. So not that much considering what you're getting.
How many? So that's like 6 months.
Yeah, about 6 months. Yeah. And then we have to take into account all the food, right? And then all the drugs you're using on the way in, which can get pricey closer to the show because we have to think about how much we have to use and you know, and like you can't say no. You can't, when you're committed, you can't say, nah, I don't think I'll take that one this time around. You just have to just take whatever. So like I have athletes that I'm like, okay, we're preparing for an open show, which means, you know, open shows essentially means they know that you're taking steroids.
Okay. Yeah.
And they almost condone it. They want you to. They want an impressive show.
Yeah.
So an open show is when the big guys come out to play.
Yeah.
So if I say to my client, like, yo, you have to take this. Yeah. They can't be like, yeah, well, I can't afford it. So it's like, no, man, you have to. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you have to because it's part of the game. Mm-hmm. That drug is going to make you look a certain way. And then, unfortunately, more is coming. So you just have to keep doing it, right? So that's the reason for that. So I realized, so that's why for me, it's very taxing too, man. Like I couldn't do anything. Like I never worked an actual day in my life, like an actual job. I never worked a job. Yeah, I never worked an actual job. I always made money doing something. Yeah. So I couldn't do anything but go to the gym and then go home. So it was taxing for me because I wasn't actually making any money. It was young when I was competing. I was 20, 21. So I was doing shows and I was spending thousands of dollars and I wasn't making anything, right? But again, like I said, that path always leads you somewhere. So me competing made me learn how to do everything. I learned from all these athletes, and then now I'm on the outskirts coaching and putting guys on stage because I was able to do it and now I know how to do it. And you can, like we were talking about, looking online and finding out information. You can't find out how to prep yourself for a show online. It's impossible. I tried to do it. When I did it naturally, I didn't have a coach. So I did everything online and I was like taking bits and pieces of like dehydration. How long do I dehydrate for? What should I eat right before I go on stage? I was just mixing it all up and it didn't work.
Plus you probably you look at blood work.
Yeah.
You actually examine probably blood work.
Yeah, I have to look at blood work all the time.
You can't get that on Reddit. Like, hey,
no, exactly.
It's too deep.
But that's my point. Is it's so much deeper than just like telling somebody what to do. So that's why, you know, everything I've learned, I'm able to now apply that, right? And all my guys do well, right? But I learn the body. When I work with someone and I get to visually see them, I can see what they can't see. So, you know, we have a mutual friend, you know, Adam, that is competing, and he sends me check-ins every week and I can see it. Yeah. I can see what he's going to look like 12 weeks from now, but he can't see it because he's never done this before. But I can, so I know what I'm going to do every week. And as long as he keeps sending me check-ins and I keep seeing those changes, I know exactly what to do. That when the day comes, he's going to be perfect for that day.
Sculpting him.
Exactly.
So when somebody works with you, like, is there like first of all, working with you does not mean you're training with you?
No, there's no training involved. I like to get close with my clients and you know, kind of.
Sometimes like.
Yeah, I'll train with them here and there if they're able to.
But train with them, not train them.
Yeah, I train with them, right? I more use it as a chance to kind of get to know them a little bit more, and we discuss things that he may have questions, you know what I mean, that he forgets, and you know, so an hour of training with me is kind of like, he asks everything he needs to know and whatever.
And then he just, the goal is to send you like a weekly check-in.
Yeah, weekly check-ins, and that determines what the next week's going to look like, right? Now, obviously, and I can also tell when people are not doing what I'm telling them to do, right? Like, they think they can get that by me. I'm like, nah, man, you ate a fucking pizza, didn't you? I'm like, I can tell by the bloating of the face. I'm like, nah, man, shit ain't right. Why'd you go up 4 pounds in 3 days? Did you take a shit? Like, is it like, did you not shit this morning? Or what's a 4 pound increase? You know what I mean? So I can tell.
Oh, and I guess the check-in is here's how I look and here's how much I weigh. And
Yeah, so I'll get like I get a front side pose, back pose, and a current weight, right? And then I'll compare them from the last week.
Do you have anybody faking their check-in sometimes?
I mean,
They like went out drinking. They're like sending you an old photo.
I don't. I mean, maybe it's possible, but one of my clients had a client who was competing, a female competitor, and fuck, man, like he learns from me. So like I was kind of coaching her through my buddy, and it was I kept telling him to tell her what to take and how much cardio to do. We had this woman on like 2.5 hours of cardio, and she was still like not lean. And I was like, there's no way in hell this girl's doing 2.5 hours of cardio. And she was eating like 800 calories. Like I had her like sniffing an almond for breakfast. That's like, she was eating nothing. Like you could look at an avocado for breakfast. That was all she got. Like you can't even eat
On Instagram, not even the real one.
Yeah, that's how much she was deprived, and she still wasn't conditioned. So I told my buddy, I was like, nah, man, she's not listening to you. I'm like, call that show off. It's like we're like 2 weeks out from the show. She's on like clenbuterol. She's on albuterol. Yeah. She's on all these fat burners, thyroid stuff, Cytomel. I'm like, what else can we add? Ozempic? Like, what are we gonna do here, man? Like all that stuff, and she's still not lean. I'm like, she's not doing it. She's eating sushi every day.
So do you ever tell somebody like that's willing to pay you the money, and you ever tell them, listen, I can't work with you? Have you ever had to turn a client down for either like let's say somebody really wanted to compete, and you just said, listen, you don't have it. Like you ever look at someone genetically, and you're like, listen, you just don't have it.
Because I never turn it down, only because that can alter someone's view of themselves, and like if someone really wants something, they can get it. That I believe firmly in. Like if you really want something, you can get it.
So 1 to 10, how important are genetics?
Oh, like 10. That's win or lose.
Right.
But
so where's the line?
If we're talking, but if let's just say 100% is genetics.
Yeah.
Let's say you got somebody with bad genetics who wanted it 10 times more than the person.
Listen, talent. Let's say talent is hard work. So genetics beats hard work only when genetics works hard.
Right.
Got it.
Right. Yeah. So the hardworking guy with the shittier genetics will still win if the genetics guy isn't working as hard. That's what we've heard that saying. Talent beats hard work unless you know what I mean. Unless the talent's not working hard.
Because I was featured on a Big Eric podcast, and 2 podcasts after me was Big Rami.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So by default, people were watching his thing, and then I popped up, and a lot of views came that way. And that guy is huge.
Yeah, just a monster.
That guy wouldn't walk in the door.
No, he's a monster. But see, that a lot has to do with genetics, because we have a limit. Now there are drugs that increase that limit, but which obviously at that level you are taking, right? But that genetics allows you to grow like that, right? So that's why, and the shape of the muscle, like Phil Heath was just like just really nice to look at, because every muscle belly was so full.
Is he still competing?
No, he's retired now, but he's still in great shape.
When did he last time compete?
2005 or something? 2006?
Yeah, it was late 2000s.
He won a big. He was between him and Big Rami.
Yeah,
Ronnie
This was
Coleman
3 years ago.
No.
You're thinking Ronnie Coleman.
Not Ronnie Coleman area.
Yeah.
So 2010.
Big Rami and Phil Heath, it was like 2016, 2017. After he lost,
I think after
he retired.
Because I think he
was it Jay Cutler that era?
Jay Cutler was Ronnie Coleman era,
before,
and then he was merging into the Phil Heath.
Gotcha.
They competed against each other, and then Jay Cutler retired. Then Phil Heath came in, and then Big Rami came in, and then Phil Heath retired. But see, a lot of it has to do with genetics. Look at Sebum. Like he's built for classic physique. Yeah. Like his body is built for that, right? But how did he even know? He didn't know. He got into bodybuilding, and then he started competing, and he saw his genetic potential. He went on stage, and he was getting really good responses from people, just telling him he looked great. He kept winning shows, so he realized that that's what he wanted to do.
Right.
But unless you get to that point, you won't really ever know genetics. Like I can know if we have an athlete, let's say for example, we have an athlete that's like prime conditioning, and I look at him and like he looks really good, but the genetics aren't there. Like,
Yeah.
and you know what? It's unfortunate because you know there are guys that really want it. That I've been going to shows since I was like, since like the early 2016, 2017, and I've seen the same guys sometimes every year, up until last year. Like our last show we did was in August.
Yeah.
And I see the same guys just trying, and they just can't.
Every year.
They can't crack it because, and you know what? They look good, but there's that guy beside them that just looks better.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
And but they're trying. They're not giving up, and that's hard work. Right.
Do you think they're even maybe taking the wrong things as well and not having the right coach and stuff?
But that's the thing, right?
Maybe
Like
that's
it can it can be a factor, right? Because we also look at guys like I don't know if what was his name? The other Canadian bodybuilder. Shit, what's his name? I have to Google it. Just give me a second.
Adam?
Not Adam. Definitely not Adam. Not yet, at least. Not yet, at least.
Is Adam taking this as like a bodybuilder, or is he just?
He's doing
Starting his
classic.
first show.
Yeah, he's
Classic.
Because you wanna like.
Oh no, he's doing physique, right?
He's gonna do. I think we're gonna put him in both.
Both. Okay.
Yeah.
So he's got
Are they back to back?
thinner calves.
Sorry.
He's got the smaller calves.
Yeah, that's the.
That's genetics.
That's
I-
well,
I-
genetics
I-
because of the
I-
insertion, right? Like my calves aren't the best because the insertion is so long. But like my shoulders are massive because they're short, and people, right? Like, but that's also a point where people look at me and immediately there's an illusion I'm bigger because my shoulders are bigger. It provides a taper, so people think I'm bigger than I am because the shoulders protrude a little bit more than somebody else,
I
right?
see.
So that's another reason. So I just have to.
Would you compete again?
You know, maybe for fun, but like I also have a lot of tattoos now, which kind of takes away.
They don't like. They don't.
I mean, it just takes away from the
shape.
from the shape, and you know.
Has anybody with a lot of tattoos like one?
I don't know. I mean, I have a good.
Typically, I see them like they're like very clean, like nothing.
Seaboom has like one tattoo or something. I think where's on his arm or chest or something like that.
Yeah, a small forearm tattoo.
small,
He
yeah.
has. What was Regan Grimes? That's his name. So look at this guy. Right. So just a monster.
Oh yeah, I know this.
You know Regan Grimes, right?
That guy. Not in Toronto. He's like British Columbia or something.
Yeah, he's a Canadian bodybuilder. Yeah, but
Yeah, I seen him on
yeah. So he.
Well, my For You page is still a lot of fitness.
Yeah,
A
so
lot of-
he.
a lot of good luck guys.
So he was competing and he had a great physique, but wasn't like pro. Like
Yeah.
he was pro level, but he wasn't like winning shows. He went to Kuwait, and you know when people go to Kuwait, they got the anabolic chickens there and shit like that. That's what they say. He went for the Kuwaiti coaches, and he came back a monster. So that just goes to show. Yeah, I mean.
Interesting.
Yeah, so they go over there and then they
Is
come
the
back.
Food different? Well, I mean,
I think the drugs are A1 there. I think
Probably
they're the
the
best
drugs
drugs
are,
that you
yeah.
can get. But also it's the coaching. They know exactly what to give him, and like you gotta understand, like that level is like your life is surrounded by
just
everything that like you wake up and you're like you gotta take your growth hormone, and then you gotta take your insulin 30 minutes before, then you have to shuttle protein and carbs, and then you gotta go to the gym and train, then you gotta come back and eat so you don't go hypoglycemic, and then you gotta take your insulin again, and then you know what I mean, like it's just like every day. So you go to Kuwait and they're like it's like a package. You go there and they
so it's like
it's a thing,
like
yes,
a thing.
yeah. So you go to I can't remember what the gym is called.
Why? Like, this is a little weird. Like why Kuwait?
Because they have the best drugs there and they have the best coaches.
What's the Big Ramy in Kuwait as well?
Yeah, Big Ramy was
He's in Kuwait.
Yeah.
No, because I was watching this thing and
Yeah.
he said he was doing the Kuwait stuff, and I'm like,
They go there and they-
I was born in Saudi, bro, so I know these Gulf countries like it.
Yeah, they go there and they create these bodybuilders. So Regan Grimes was already a pro level athlete, but now he's even better
Like
because
Kuwait
of the
to
coach.
Kuwait?
You go to Kuwait, you're gonna come back.
Go to Kuwait,
Small
bro.
world there. Right?
You'll come back a monster though.
Come back
right?
from us.
You just because they
We're the first Canadians.
you just live and breathe
Yeah.
fitness. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
You live and breathe bodybuilding.
It's your
But like
retreat,
I was saying, you take the point of it is you take your hands off the wheel and you let them do it. Because again, they know exactly what they're doing, so let them guide you and get you. You don't ask
focus on
questions.
thinking, you just focus on doing.
You don't. Yeah,
it.
exactly. You're taking your mind out of it, right? Which is scary, I guess, but you know,
I think it's better.
it's better, bro. Especially for this, because if you try to do your own, if you try to do your own thing, it just.
So what? How did you get into the actual coaching space? Was it someone that came up to you a lifetime and said, "Hey, listen, like, how do you look like that? Can you coach me?"
You know, most of the time, like like out of the actual competition stuff that I do, there was a lot of guys, older guys that come to me and say, listen, man, I got a young girl, I got to keep up, you know what I mean? Like I'm 50, I'm dating this 25-year-old girl, and you know, I gotta look good. So, you know, I was guiding them and kind of like helping them out through there. And then, you know, I started getting a bigger Instagram following, and then, you know, I was promoting myself a little bit more, and then I realized, and then I had some guys just coming to me and saying, you know, like, listen, you do coaching for shows, and I was like, well, not really, but I mean, I can.
Yeah.
So I did it, and then, you know, I coached a couple guys in the shows, and then they did well, and then again, people see that, and then it just snowballs from there. Right?
But the experience that you had when you weren't getting paid for your first couple of years.
For sure.
See, that's what I'm saying. It opened that.
Relate to you,
It opened the door, and also it's relatable, right? I'm a younger guy, and you know, I'm very open about everything. I don't lie to anybody.
Yeah.
I'll tell them realistic expectations when I look at guys and be like, listen, this is probably what you're gonna end up looking like. You know what I mean? So it's because, like I said, I can pre-see it because I know, you know, what to look for. But yeah, no, it's.
You mentioned something really cool. You said you started marketing yourself.
Yeah.
How important it is right now for our coach to market themselves?
Man, it's the biggest thing. It's the biggest thing as a coach, even as an athlete, because you know, I was doing well with like word of mouth, local stuff. Everybody knew me at the gyms. Everybody knew me in Vaughan. Like everybody knew who I was in Vaughan. But like outside of that I was untouched, and it's just a sea of money and like
90% of the business out there.
It's a sea of money out there just waiting to be grabbed at. But you got to get out there and do it, right? And so what I started to do was market myself a little more, post myself.
Do you post every day?
I don't post every day. I always, you know, I've kind of taken a break of it now because, you know, I'm waiting for I'm mostly reposting my clients. I'm reposting.
Okay. So success stories.
Yeah. I'm mostly posting the progress of my clients, not so much me anymore. I still get in like good shape for the summer, right? Because that's, again, like marketing isn't even just online. Yeah. I'll go to Cabana and just stand there with my shirt off, shredded, and you know, people would
free advertising.
It's not free advertising, right?
Walk around.
I tell the boys that had just finished their shows. I'm like, yo, take a walk.
Park the Lambo handicap.
Yeah, exactly. I valet the car up front, make sure everyone sees it.
Here's another question that I have.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to go on a cycle, what would be? You said 6 months for a show.
Yeah.
But somebody that just wants to look good. You don't think 6 months is extreme?
6 months. 6 months is a whole like bulking and cutting and whatever, but it depends on your current shape. Like if you're already lean, let's use you for example. So you're lean. Exactly. So you're lean. So let's say, look, I'm going to Dubai in 3 months. So you're so okay, you choose that as your date.
You actually.
That's just like,
there you go. Everybody's gonna do
let's go.
We're gonna publicly do a cycle right here. No, but 3 months. You're like, listen, I'm going to Dubai in 3 months. I want to look good. You know what I mean? So that is technically your show. Okay. So now again, it doesn't have to be as extreme as a show because you don't have to be perfect and no one's judging you. To be honest with you, you're gonna look better than 90% of the guys there anyway.
Because they're not. For sure.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So like anywhere I go, even if I'm not prime conditioning, I'm usually the bigger guy, right? Unless there's someone else bigger than me there, or whatever, more condition, whatever. But usually 90% of the time, I'm the biggest guy at wherever I'm at. Just a regular venue. Even if I go to the supermarket, I'm always the biggest guy. You know, and depending on the gyms, you can be one of the biggest guys, whatever. But so you say, listen, I want to go there, and I'm going to be there in 3 months, and I want to just, you know. I'm already lean, so I want to put some size. I want to put some 10 pounds of muscle, but I don't want to get bloated or watery. I want to just be dry and conditioned, but just 10 pounds more. So we build a cycle based off of your goal. Okay. So we say, okay, for example.
So a 90-day cycle, 3 month cycle.
Yeah, exactly. So we say, okay, you know, there are testosterone we were mentioning, right? So there's I think there's 4. So there's a propionate, a sustanon, an enanthate, and a cypionate, and then there's also a decanate, so there's 5. Okay. So
these are types of testosterone.
Yeah, it's a type, right? And the types are the only difference between them is the esters, which means how long they are in the system. Okay. So propionate being the fastest one, and decanate being the slowest one.
system as in like on a daily basis, or are we talking like on a?
Like,
Like a
for example, a
macro.
propionate is in your system for 3.5 days, and a
Okay.
decanate is in your system for like 3 weeks.
So, oh wow.
Right. So meaning, if you took a decanate, you can take one shot every 3 weeks.
Every 3 weeks.
You take a propionate, you have to take a shot
Every
minimum
3 weeks.
every other day. I usually say to keep a balanced level. So now you might ask me, well, why would I take a propionate and do that every other day when I can just take the decanate and take it every 3 weeks?
For sure.
Well, the difference between the esters is the water retention, right? So the propionate is the driest testosterone because it's in and out of the body so quickly, it keeps your body dry. So he wants to be lean.
Yeah.
So we're not going to give him a decanate because if we give him a decanate, then he's going to go there bloated, right? So he wants to take the driest testosterone. But then there are guys that are bulking in the winter and they don't care about being shredded. So we put them on the inundates or the sipinates, the longer acting drugs, because one, it's easier and the dosages are higher. So the bigger the ester, the more it can be suspended in. So propionate is 100 milligrams versus the inundate 250 milligrams. So to get 500 milligrams of propionate, you'd have to do 5 cc's a week. To do 500 milligrams of testosterone inundate, it's only 2 cc's. So,
Makes sense.
right?
So, okay, that would be one of them.
Yeah. Then we'd say, okay.
Take notes.
Also,
Also, we have the videos.
we have the videos. He's just going back. I know he's gonna go back. I know he's gonna go back and like
Take the
jot
notes,
this
man.
all down.
Getting free coaching.
Yeah, but then we have
Click
okay.
the link for
Click the link
know
below.
So we have so right now, okay, so he chooses his testosterone base. He's got his propionate there. Then he says, okay, well, what else can I do to really build? So we'd set that. You also have to set the dose. So if he wants to build but stay dry, I'd say 400 to 500 milligrams a week. That is probably 100 times his natural testosterone.
Testosterone is injection.
Always an injection.
say 100 times. Sorry.
His natural testosterone level.
100
Yes.
times.
Yeah, 500
Oh.
milligrams is like 100 times your test level. Yeah.
Okay, but before we come to the drugs, how there has to be side effects.
So there is, but if we're doing things correctly, you don't like. What's the side effect of high testosterone? What would you feel? Remember when you're going through puberty?
Yeah.
What was happening during puberty?
Yeah, acne.
You might get some acne.
Yeah.
Your sex drive's really high. You want to just fuck everything. You know what I mean? High energy.
Nice.
That's what happens when you're going through puberty.
So nothing like. I just feel like if somebody has like such a big bump in testosterone, they would have like. Is there not a after the 90 days?
Yeah.
After 90 days, there's no. You don't think their mood changes? Has to change.
Of course, I've been
Not
consistently
really
on. I have not come off in 8 years.
Testosterone.
Yeah, testosterone. I've been on for 8
Wow.
years straight. So to be honest with you, I don't even remember what I'm like without being without
Before puberty.
I don't even remember what it's like to not have that high testosterone. I don't even know because I've been on it for so long.
But are you the not? I'm guessing you're not the water one.
No,
You're
I-
the 3 weeks one.
Yeah, well, the time of the season permitting, I prefer the propionate. Because it keeps me drier.
And
And
just every couple of days.
yeah, and at this point in my life, like I'm sponsored by a couple companies. I have to stay in decent shape to keep myself dry.
Yeah.
I do stuff like this. I do photo shoots and stuff, so I have to stay in condition.
Got it.
So I use that. But before all that, I was taking the longer esters. I didn't care if I was a little bit bloated. It didn't matter.
I didn't even know there was different types of tests.
No,
Yeah.
You know, like we have your mom has spices in the kitchen.
Yeah, that's what it is. Depends what you want it to taste like.
500.
Yeah, depends what you want it to taste like.
Okay.
So if he wants to gain 10 pounds,
Let's go back.
stacking.
Yeah.
He's
So
stacking with
we're-
an Anavar.
So we do the testosterone propionate at about 400, 500 milligrams.
Yeah.
The Anavar is a must because he's already lean, so he's going to
Yeah.
see the Anavar. So the Anavar is going to basically. There's a misconception. People think Anavar burns fat. It doesn't. Here's the other thing. Every steroid is a derivative of testosterone, meaning Anavar is just testosterone. D-ball is just
So
testosterone.
you're taking testosterone and testosterone?
Technically, yes. The body doesn't know that it's Anavar. It just knows that it's another enhancing drug of testosterone.
Wow.
But it does, well, now obviously when the liver breaks it down and it goes into our bloodstream, it does something else for us. But essentially, it is just testosterone, right? So that's why when guys say I'm only going to take Anavar without testosterone, I'm like, big fucking mistake, because your body's going to see that as testosterone. Now the difference between that is that an Anavar tab has a 10-hour half-life, whereas testosterone's got that longer half-life. So if you forget to take Anavar one day, your testosterone's going to tank, because your body thinks it's testosterone.
So you must have.
You always a testosterone base. You always have to have a base. If you don't, it's bad. People do it, and then they get it. People do it year round. I mean, whatever. If you're cool with that, but then as soon as they stop, man,
the emotional.
Oh man, you're going in the dumps, man. And
wow.
Yeah. So, but even if
these motherfuckers were moody at the gym, man.
Yeah. That's why they like
to take that money and
just doing that.
Take their plate. You just know. You ever see the older jack guys in the gym, man? They're just always mad.
So upset about life.
So upset about everything. Like you're on a machine and they're like, "How many more sets you got?" You'd be like, 2, bro, and they're like, "Oh, fuck," and they just walk away angry.
Or the personal trainers that run out of money for the test, and then now they're bald and they get smaller.
Yeah, and
they just mess themselves up.
Yeah.
So how do you first of all, like, there's side effects? People lose hair. We hear about that.
So hair loss.
How do you mitigate the side effects?
So look, there's always drugs to combat side effects. There's finasteride is supposed to block the DHT from hitting the scalp.
Okay.
So there are obviously things to take to combat those side effects, but essentially genetics is genetics, and that's what we mentioned. So if you're gonna lose your hair, you're gonna lose your hair. That's it's part of the game, right? There are look at Jay Cutler, full fucking head of hair. Look at Phil Heath, look at The Rock, look at Big Ramy, all bald. They had that genetic disposition and they lost their hair.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can get a hair transplant, you can, take a finasteride, preventative measures, but we also have to think about what is it that we want and how far, again, like I said, are you willing to go? So back to kind of what we were talking about, Rakan, and what he prepare for. So you take the Anavar, like I said, it's derivative of testosterone, but it's because he's lean, he's going to see what the Anavar is doing, right? So he's going to see his body get fuller, tighter. The testosterone's going to make him fuller and tighter. And then, we can add something. Obviously, growth hormone is beneficial for hundreds of reasons, right? The anti-aging benefits, the better sleep, the shrinkage of fat cells, the quality muscle you build off of it. So that's what he could do. He could do growth hormone. He can do the test probe, and he can do 40 to 60 milligrams.
To combat all the the side effects.
Yeah, right. And then he does that up until he leaves, and then he gets there, and that's it. And then he can just.
So so with the test, the Anavar, the GH.
Yeah.
Anything else?
For
9 days.
For you that I wouldn't do anything else.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe if you really wanted to, again, it depends on how far you're willing to go. You can add some trenbolone in there, and he would blow up. He'd really put some size and conditioning. Tren gives you a look, a look that is only obtainable with Tren. Vascularity, just the thin skin look. Remember I was showing you guys earlier. So that's what you can obtain with that. So if you did test Tren and some Anavar with the GH in the background, just a therapeutic dose just to keep your body good. You did that, and then you go and you enjoy your vacation. You're in Dubai. You look great.
Wild vacation. Now let's just say it's actually 9 days, 2 months.
Yeah.
You don't just call off.
No, absolutely not.
I'm guessing there's a.
So again, it depends on how long let's say you're gone for a week. If you're gone for
let's
a week.
just say for a month.
Okay, you're gone for a month, even better. So
giving him realistic
I recommend, because he's actually going to be gone for a month, that's why.
Let's go.
Extra carry-on bag.
Yeah. So
I'm guessing,
I mean, you can travel with it. It's not usually, you know what I mean? But so if
orals or syringes?
Both.
Oh,
I'm guessing both.
Yeah, you can, because there's, the laws aren't
just put it in the
you put it in
not the carry-on, the other bag.
Check bag. Check your bag, you'll be fine. But okay, so if he's gone for a month, I'd recommend to drop, the Tren if you were taking it. Drop the GH while you're gone because it's a little bit hard to maintain. Just take some tests with you and just keep taking the test while you're there to keep your conditioning, keep your size, keep your look for a little bit, and then now you say, okay, you're there for a month. You do the test every couple of days until
So just test.
Just a test, right? And then basically what you're going to do is when you come back, we do something called a post-cycle therapy,
Mm-hmm.
which means, well, you can make two choices. You can go on TRT, which is what we mentioned, which is just a replacement therapy. So it's not going to be 100 times your test now. We're going to be, maybe just like a little bit higher than our natural test to maintain the muscle. And we can stay on that for as long as we want. Or we say, okay, I want to get off. I want to give my receptors a break. I want to give my body a break. And you do a post-cycle therapy. You take a Nolvadex, a Clomid, some HCG, bring your
How
natural.
long?
You do that for 4 weeks, and then your body will bring back its natural testosterone, and that's it. And then you are essentially back to normal.
When would be the best look? It's not going to be after the 4 weeks. It'd be right when you're at the peak of the 90 days. I'm guessing.
Sorry.
That your peak physique wouldn't be after the 4 weeks of therapy. It would be like right before you start therapy.
Yeah.
Peaks, like
Yeah.
The 90,
peak
Yeah.
volume, yeah.
Yeah, at the end of that 90 days, exactly. So, and again, but that also, we once we achieve this conditioning, like, let's be honest, if you did do that, do you think you want to let that go? Of course not. Of course not, right? Because you just see how good you look, and you see the attention you're getting, you see, it's a lot of hard work, and you don't want to just let that go. So that's why people decide, okay, let me go on the TRT instead and maintain that.
So after this, they take the TRT,
Yeah.
and then when can they go back on?
I mean, I always say to give a
Because
couple.
I like being in the gym. I know it's not like okay, you do your first cycle. I don't think you'll because every cycle will take you to a different level.
Yeah. So again, like let's use you for an example. Like, so you come back, you do TRT, you decide I don't want a PCT, I don't want to do my post cycle therapy, I want to stay on some TRT, and then and now what did we say? 3 months. So let's say that's what would that be? April, May, June.
Yeah.
Right. So you come back in July.
Yeah.
Okay. July is still the summer, so you want to stay in good shape for the summer. So you stay on the TRT. Now, Labor Day hits, it's September, you're like, you want to have some fun, whatever. Maybe you say, okay, I'm going to throw some antibiotics. Or maybe you might say, you know what, I'm going back to Dubai.
Okay.
Or I'm going to Miami, I'm going to whatever. So that might be the reason for you to kickstart that up again, and then do that again. You do it for 2 to 3 months again.
What's the minimum?
I would stay off for a month. If you're going to TRT, minimum a month with nothing in it.
No, not TRT. I mean, what's a minimum cycle?
Oh, I mean, it can be anywhere. People do
Can you
8
go
to
a month?
Yeah, people do 8. No, not a month.
No.
Because it takes at least 2 weeks for everything to kick in.
Okay, got it.
So 8 to 12 weeks is a minimum, right? I remember when I started, I was like 20, and I had a calendar, and I was like counting my weeks, and I was like, I'm doing 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And then I saw it, and I was like, let me just add 2 more weeks.
Yeah.
Like 10, and then I'm like, you know what? 4 more and I'm done. 4 more and I'm done. 14 weeks in, and I'm like, just another 10 weeks and I'm done.
So
8 years later, we're still here.
but my question: can you go? How long can you go with? Like, I mean, you've been taking tests, but actual cycles.
Yeah.
What is a test considered a cycle?
So there's TRT.
Yeah.
No. Right now you're technically on TRT.
Now,
Not right now.
Oh.
I meant like after you come off a cycle. You said you've been on
Yeah,
something.
you can take the TRT is what's your question?
Like, I mean, there's no way you've been on the same cycle since you.
No. See, that's what I'm saying is
Yeah.
that first cycle was like a muscle building cycle. I was trying to bulk, so I did the bulking stuff, the test deck at the D-ball. I bulked, and then I just kept bulking, and then I was like, okay, it's time to cut. So now I transitioned from that bulking stuff to the cutting stuff. And then after the cutting stuff was done, I did a TRT for 3 months, 4 months, and then I went back into competing. So I put the bulking stuff back in, and then the cutting stuff back in, and then did the show, and then went back to TRT. And then I did that for all my shows, and then now I don't do shows anymore. So now I can stay on TRT basically until the summer comes, and then I'll put some things in that, condition myself a little bit. And that's it, right? And then otherwise I don't see a reason to be on heavy drugs, for myself at least, right? But also that comes with maturity, right? Like, the longer you've been doing this, the easier it gets. Like, I can eat like shit sometimes and get away with it because I've been on growth hormone for 4 years. You know what I mean? Like,
Is that every day?
GH is every day, yeah. So I've shrunken my fat cells to the point where if I eat like shit every day, as long as I'm training and living a relatively healthy lifestyle, I won't get out of shape. So the longer you do it, the easier it gets, right? So I'm at the point where I can just coast and cruise and still look good majority of the time. It doesn't require much work.
For sure.
Right? So
Yeah.
that's
Do you
that's,
still have like your crazy gym routine? You
No.
working out twice or like once?
no, I just once a day, man. Once a day, 45 minutes, I'm all right. You know what I mean?
What is too much training?
Yeah.
If you're not taking, let's say, steroids,
Crazy stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but this
Steroids
is,
or
and
not
all
like
steroids,
anything.
like you're taking even test.
yeah.
For someone natural.
Honestly, man, I praise the natural athletes for doing what they can. It's just, overtraining only happens when you're natural because the body just isn't synthesizing protein enough. Because what is steroids, right? What is it? Essentially, it's just hormones that allow our body to synthesize protein faster and repair and build muscle faster. That's all it does, right? So if you're not eating, testosterone is useless. It's not going to build any muscle without food, right? It needs fuel. So ultimately, if we look at, what we're doing here is we're essentially just speeding up the process, right? But I can train 2 hours, 3 hours, or go in twice a day, and my body almost uses it and will utilize that. When a natural guy they're struggling with, they actually might look worse. Overtraining, they end up looking worse because they look at their physique and they're like, well, fuck, why am I flat today? Because you overtrained, you did too much. Right? Or if they overeat, they look, fluffy, or they undereat, they look too skinny. So it's just this constant battle.
Yeah.
And like I said, if they're natural, right? But then there are guys. I know so many guys that are on just testosterone and some Anavar, and man, they don't look great, but they look pretty good. You know what I mean? They look like they do more than they do. You know what I mean? Wow. And I know guys that go train 3 times a week, and it's like a half-assed arm, just train arms and chest, but like they got some pretty good arms and chest.
Yeah. So at what point do you hit the plateau of your genetics? Like someone training naturally. How do they know? Listen, there's no more I can do without taking orals or injecting. This is it.
You'll notice it because how long have you been training?
Well, I've been on and off, but like 8 years.
8 years, and how long have you been training?
Probably 8 years.
Okay, so 8 years of training. Do you notice yourself getting bigger?
At this point, no.
Right. So there's your answer. There's your answer. When you stop, because you got to this point naturally, correct?
Okay, Vlad.
Yes.
Right?
Well, I
guess we know what we need to do.
We'll do a part 2, but I take something called SARMs out of my
Yeah.
He thinks it's steroids. We know it's not steroids.
SARMs are not
We can do a
steroids.
whole other episode on that, but it's
It's not steroids?
SARMs are selective androgen receptor
start injecting myself.
modulators.
yeah. So they're made to kind of replicate sort of steroid, anyways.
Yeah.
With less
Is it
side effects.
effective?
SARMs are effective, yes.
They're a good gateway.
So why would somebody take SARMs than steroids?
Because they're non-toxic. They're good for beginners. It's a gateway, like he said, right?
So it's an opener to...
Yeah, right. Like it's just a little bit safer. They don't really fuck with your hormones that much.
Yeah.
So, you can get some good results without going the step of like injecting yourself. Because injecting yourself seems to be a big problem for people nowadays.
Is this SARM, is that related to Anavar or related to testosterone? I guess Anavar is testosterone.
It's neither, because it's again, it stands for, I think, like selective androgen receptive modulators. Yeah.
It's a family of these drugs, and there's different.
Yeah.
They do different things.
They do different things. Like there's one that's an oral GH.
There's a GH SARM. There's a test booster SARM.
Yeah,
Austrian,
there's a test
there's
booster.
one that's supposed to.
What do they
LTB?
They're legal,
Yeah.
right? They're legal.
Yeah,
actually.
okay.
Yeah, SARMs are legal.
Yeah.
Like you can buy them online. They're legal because they're almost like a research.
I mean, I think you can buy steroids online too, no?
Yeah, I mean it's not legal.
Yeah, but just the FDA banned steroids. The FDA is still working on SARMs.
Yeah.
It's an evolving science.
It's involved.
Yeah.
They haven't technically said yes or no yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just,
But they are legal to
Kinda like-
purchase, and like I mean, like you can go to like a fitness show and they got them like laid out there.
Yeah.
Like you can't go to a fitness show and put
Got it.
bottles of
Yeah.
testosterone there.
It's kind of like crypto. Like the banks don't know.
Yeah.
and, like-
Yeah. So it's
it's happening.
But hey, listen, they are great. So if you've used that, why did you decide to use that? Because you hit a plateau and you're like, I need to do something. And did it do?
It did.
There you
Yeah,
go.
it did.
So there's your answer.
But then again, the next, so actually, I don't know. I've done it for 2 summers. It's not hitting the same. What's the next step? And we know.
There's your next right. So you felt like you naturally hit your limit.
All right, boys.
You naturally hit your limit,
Yeah.
and then you decided to use the SARMs. Then the SARMs did something for you. You hit your limit, and now you're like, what do I do
No, I
next?
gotta hit this before the wedding, eh?
You're getting married? Who's getting married? Oof! Congratulations.
Tell her 90 days, all right?
No, not 9 days, bro. I need like the 6 months.
Yeah.
I want to go to the wedding.
Yeah.
I'm fucking looking wild.
Yeah. Don't see your fiance for 6 months.
Well, I want to see your children at least.
Oh, perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
amazing.
right now, you don't even send your pictures.
Yeah, no check-ins.
So
Just show up there, just fucking vascular everywhere. He's got a sleeveless top for at his wedding, just like, you know.
Yeah, take time. Rip it off. Okay, speaking of, I wanted to ask this question because a lot of people in the fitness industry, they go through, body dysmorphia and insecurities.
Yeah.
And a lot of their, the heavy workouts are fueled by, maybe not being cool in grade 10 or maybe that girl left you for that, the high school jock and call it, quarterback.
Yeah.
So some people may look at you and say, listen, you got the perfect physique, but you don't look at yourself like that.
Yeah.
Do you ever yourself, even at the top tier of physique, still think,
I should have this better.
or I should have, or this muscle,
Or this
I'm
is
missing
not
this.
I'm still
still
like
there,
that.
man.
I'm still like that. I still feel like I should have bigger caps. Like I fucking hate that I don't have big caps. It's my one downfall. That's why it's my one downfall. Like I will legit I'm open about everything. I'll put fucking I don't know if you guys heard of synthol.
Synthol, yeah.
I'll put synthol.
Some guy died from synthol. You saw that the Indian guy.
Yeah, but those are guys that abuse it. Like for anything.
Synthol's like the oil where where guys have super disproportionate.
So every bodybuilder uses that for their shows, right? But they use it in moderation. Like for example, they'll put it in this part of the forearm, and they'll put it in a very small part of the tricep, or a very small part
That's
of
why
the
they
front
look
delt.
like.
They look so rounded and full
right.
because if you use it correctly, it's used to just accent the muscles,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
It's not meant
all
to
the
turn
pictures
his
that we
bicep
see
into a
to-
22-inch bicep.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
You can't take a 14-inch bicep or 16-inch bicep and turn it into a 22-inch with synthol, because that's what causes infections and inflammation and stuff. Now, if you use it correctly, it's used to just enhance the look of the muscle. So I'll fucking shoot my calves with that shit, man. But you put a little bit in around the edges, and it'll give you that shape. You know what I mean? Now it doesn't stay. It's something you got to keep up with. But fuck, man. But like in the wintertime, I just won't do it. In the summertime, I'll only do it when I know I'm wearing shorts. Like, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. But like, see what I mean? Like everything is just for for specific things. But yeah, I still feel like that, right? Like I even get to those times where I'm like, fuck, man, I want to get a little bit bigger. And I'll up the ante a little bit and just try and get a little bit bigger. It's just like
Is it a never-ending cycle though? Do you find yourself like?
There's no way there's an end, bro.
there's no way.
For improvement, there's no end.
There's no end because there's always more to do. There's always a way to get more defined and more like a lot leaner and a lot bigger. That's why, like I said when we talked about women earlier, and that's such dedication to be able to, and discipline to be able to want to keep doing that, and like it's taxing, man. It's taxing on the body, even naturally, man. Going to the gym 6 days a week, making sure you're eating clean all the time, like it's not easy, right? So, and then imagine having to put in like your injections every day, growth hormone every day, remembering your pills every day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, injecting your certain drugs.
Yeah.
It becomes a whole lifestyle thing where like
You
have to think about it all the time. If you don't think about it, you miss it, and it can fuck you up.
I have a last question
Yeah.
before we end this.
Yeah.
I'm guessing you have inspirations, like somebody that like, this is somebody I would like to look like, or I would like to have their career, or I would like to have like what he's done with his personal brand or whatever.
Well, I'll tell you how I got into this, and it was I actually have it tattooed on me. I don't know if you guys ever seen the movie Pain and Gain.
Yeah, with the Rock.
With the
Yeah,
Rock
Mark
and
Wahlberg.
Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
Right? So this is a scene from Pain and Gain. There's the Rock, like you can see him right over there.
Oh,
So there's a scene in Pain and Gain. I have it tattooed on me, and that's
is it
kind
the
of
first one when they were like talking together?
You remember the no? This is the one where they kidnapped the rich guy
Oh,
and
yeah.
tortured him. I guess. So that's not what inspired me.
Yeah.
What inspired me was that came out like 2014, 2015. So
Yeah.
right before I started getting into this. And I watched that movie and I just saw how big they were, and like The Rock was like just huge. Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, Mark was looking.
Yeah,
Mark is still looking.
He's still looking really good. But I watched that movie, and this was the first like bodybuilding movie I've ever seen on that came out. Like I've never seen one built. It's just for bodybuilders.
Yeah.
So when I saw these characters and you know, they were living the high life, you know, yeah, they didn't do it like legitimately, but still, like, I just saw these massive bodybuilders living in Miami, like they had money and all this stuff, and I was like, fuck, man, like I wanna be like that.
Yeah.
So like that's unfortunately what inspired me to get into like that industry seriously. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you know, I looked at that movie and I looked at those guys. It's weird because they're not like competitive bodybuilders. Yeah. But I looked at those guys, Mark Wahlberg and The Rock, in that movie specifically, and I was like, that's what I want to do. That's what I wanted to be. And I still look at The Rock as like, you know, such a massive character,
for sure.
Right? But it's not just the physique; it's the life, right? Yeah. I see how popular he became, and you know what? He almost became that way because of the way he looks.
I agree.
Because when he was in wrestling and he was doing, remember the movie Snitch and. You know, all those shitty movies, he was like a C-list actor. Now look at him, he's like one of the highest paid actors in the world. Why? Because of the way he fucking looks. Because of the way he looks, right? He's so, who else in Hollywood looks like him?
Yeah, looks
he's
like
the only one.
Yeah. And can act.
And can
play all sides.
Right,
You know?
right. Only him. So that's what inspired me, because I looked at him there, and I looked at that movie, and I looked at his physique, and I was like, I want to be like that. And then, at that point, I didn't have much money. I was just starting out, and now we fast forward like 8-9 years, and I did. I mean, I'm still doing it. Yeah. I'm still progressing. I'm still working, but I got kind of halfway there. I'd say, you know, I'm making good money. You know, if I can drive a Lamborghini, you know, I mean, like.
How do you fit in there?
I don't.
Might be my first question when he came.
For remote control.
I don't fit in the Lamborghini. It's my lower back doesn't touch the seat, so I'm kind of like,
not comfortable.
I'm kind of like in there. That's why I took the GTR, because that one's a little bit more spacious, right? And I have the Jeep, the SRT. I drive in the winter time, so I have. So I you know, like I like to think that I got kind of to that midway level through, and you know.
Come on, you've got a long way, man. From where we met, from those days, from the good left days.
Yeah,
you've come a long way.
Yeah.
So. I got one last question for you before we wrap this up. So, first of all, the body dysmorphia.
Yeah.
So, is there a solution, or there's
Flash,
no solution?
do you have body dysmorphia?
Yeah, body dysmorphia.
This is the second question.
Second time. He didn't get a full answer.
Yeah.
All successful people have insecurities.
Yeah.
There's nobody on that stage. There's nobody on that Mr. Olympia stage winning without some sort of insecurity that makes them work their ass off every day. There's no successful person on the Forbes, 100, 500 that wasn't insecure. They're not comfortable people. They're always driving. They're always working. They're always doing something.
Yeah.
Part of it is an insecurity that they had or are dealing with every single day.
Right.
They're not in comfort. Right.
Right.
So, anyways, what's the biggest myth about the fitness space? That I think that's a real worthy.
Ooh, the biggest myth about the fitness industry. Let me think about that.
Well, I mean, the first one is that everybody's natural. Let's just.
That's the biggest.
That's definitely a myth.
That's the biggest myth.
Let's just stop. But besides that,
Besides that, I have to think about
like
this.
like a juicy one, bro.
I'm trying to think. The biggest myth. Well,
everybody gets big on protein.
I mean, anything that related is obviously going to be a big myth. The biggest myth, maybe I'd say, is that I can't even think that. I don't even think anybody knows that people can make money off of this. I think that might be the biggest thing, is that people think that this may just, like, doing one show or a couple shows or whatever is going to make you, money. And the sad truth of that is that it doesn't. It doesn't make you. It doesn't. I think the money comes from everything else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we talked about marketing.
Yeah.
If you are in great shape, and even if you won the show, you're not making any money.
Yeah.
Especially not like regular shows. Mm-hmm. So what do we do for that, right? Like, people who get into the fitness industry are doing it because they want to become a pro level athlete and they want to make money. And then the sad truth is, when they get to that pro level, they're still really not making any money. Yeah. And C-Bum makes money because he wins the fucking Mr. Olympia, right? Big Ronnie.
He's still not even big.
And
it's like 50,
it's like
50K
or something. So think about that. all the money he spends on competing and all the drugs and everything, and he only gets $50K for winning. So where's all the other money
That's
coming
like
from?
Yeah.
Mr. Olympia.
Yeah. So where's the money coming from?
Personal
From the
brand.
sponsorships. He's got his own supplement company.
Okay.
He's got 10 million followers on Instagram. He's gonna have a massive
We
following.
gotta do a part 2 with this one, bro.
Yeah.
I have so many questions about that part of the industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The personal branding.
Yeah.
Not even the personal brand. I'm talking about like others, like the supplement side and stuff. Like I wonder how much.
Well, we took 30 minutes giving you a plan for Dubai. I mean.
You didn't write that down.
Yeah.
I have to make videos, not like.
We can do a part 2 if you want. If you want to cut it now, I'd be happy to.
No,
come back.
I
We'll do it in 8 to 12 weeks, right, guys?
Yeah.
I'll see you guys in 3 months.
If he looks bigger than he was,
Just know.
Links in the bio, guys.
Yeah. Check out my Instagram. Stimulants.
we gave him a gift plan.
Well, that's why I'm stimulants.
Yeah.
It's
It's a sick
self-branding.
name. That's a dope name, man.
Yeah. I got
Awesome.
I asked Adam, I'm like, Adam, what's his name?
that. Yeah, as I was driving here, he's asking, what do I tell him your name is? He didn't even know my fucking name. I've been coaching this guy for a year. He doesn't even know my name. He just calls me Coach. I'm like, all right. Yeah. He's seen me at Good Life. He used to scan my pass every time. He didn't even know my name.
That's true.
Was it your pass?
Probably used to my brother's at the time, man. It's probably
7-day trial for 8 weeks in a row.
Yeah, I'd probably just keep signing up as a fucking West. Give me 7-day trial and then come in with a mustache and do it again.
Jamal, man, I
Yes.
love this episode, bro. Thank you for
It was
clearing
good. Thanks for having me, man. Yeah.
This was cool, man.
Yeah.
This was
Well,
cool.
yeah, at least you get to see the side that people.
But anyway, in 90 days we will have part 2.
We'll have a part 2.
I'll be
Anytime.
bigger. Vlad will be off storms and on
I like
TRT.
Yeah, he'll get off the baby stuff. and done with the
He'll
baby.
switch up, but
And we'll see. Adam will probably be a lot closer, or if not, did his show, and we'll have
for sure.
when is the show?
I think June 6th is the Fuad show. And if you guys are, I don't know if you guys are around, you should come to the. Yeah, you should come. I mean, that's your buddy, anyways, right?
I wanna
You should come support.
go say hi to Vlad. I took a picture with him when I was like when I first came to Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that. He was driving a Corvette, bro. I'm like,
Yeah.
Corvette. Oh my god.
He probably thought you were some brokey trying.
I mean, I wasn't broke. I wasn't broke. Like he wasn't wrong.
He wasn't wrong.
I wasn't.
We all start somewhere, but yeah, but he's also done so well. So you see, that's the whole point.
Yeah,
He was already up there, and he just keeps getting better and better. He's got his own supplement company. He's got his own little team.
He
He's
has a
got.
gym too. No?
He has a gym. Yeah, Haas style or something.
Yeah.
Right. Even the guys that own Pure Muscle, those guys, Pure Muscle up in Burlington. You ever guys have heard of it?
Yeah.
Those guys, Dorian and Noah Hamilton, they did that off of exactly the same thing that we talked about.
Man, there's some money in this industry.
There is.
Good, man. Good stuff. Well, appreciate you, man. Thank you very much.
Thank you, bro.
And welcome to Success After Dark.
Thank you guys. Thanks
My
for
friends,
having
my
me.
family, thank you guys very much for watching. Like, subscribe, follow him on
Thank you.
social media. All links below. See
Thank
you guys
you.
very soon.
Take care, guys. Thank you.